Hello everyone, I am Renown0 and we're back again talking about Ian Mckellen explaining that his job as an actor is not to presume to tell the audience what to think ever in anything he does. This comes to us from Bounty in the comics. Ian Mckellen, who played Gandalf in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings film trilogy, shared that he would never presume to tell the audience what to think ever in anything I do. McKellen's comments came back in 2003 while promoting The Lord of the Rings The Return of the King. His comments were recently re-uploaded by Jonathan Watson and shared to his YouTube channel The One Ring. McKellen was asked by a reporter, quote, "What is the one message that you would like to the audiences to get? The one thing that would be the legacy of the Lord of the Rings movies." The Gandalf actor responded, quote, "I wouldn't presume to tell an audience what to think ever in anything I do." He continued, "I am not a politician. I'm not a proselytizer. I'm not a pamphleteer. I'm an actor, and I work on behalf of the people who do the writing, who have the message." And that's what all actors should know. You are an actor at the end of the day. You are not a propagandist. You are not an activist. You are an actor, and that's all you should be, is an entertainer, and that is it. Nobody cares about your politics. Nobody cares about what you have to say about personal life or anything like that. From there, he explained his role as an actor. "My job is not to tell the audience anything. It's just to explain the person I'm playing beyond the side of the character I'm playing. Good or bad, I don't judge character." McKellen then provided an example, quote, "When I played Richard III, I didn't say I'm going to tell the audience why they shouldn't like tyranny and dictators. I just got on with explaining why Richard III turned out to be the way he was. And the same with Gandalf. I do my best to impersonate them, but I can't anticipate the audience's reaction." McKellen's comments are in direct contrast to how actors promote their films today. One need only look at a number of the movies that came out this year, such as Barbie or Blue Beetle, or how Rachel Zegler is promoting Snow White. Actress Kate McKinnon explained that to Fandango ahead of the film's release that the script was, quote, about how gender roles deny people half their humanity and how we need to just be ourselves, and it's a very powerful message. God, these people need to learn more words. Actor Simu Liu told Screen Rant, "I'm so glad that this movie exists because I think it puts the final nail in the coffin of that very heteronormative idea of what gender is. It's because you're a soy boy. And what is or is not gendered? Because again, you're a soy boy. How can you make a color gendered, you know?" He went on, "Over the course of this movie, I've been around, worn, played with more pink than I ever thought possible. It was so great. Because you're a soy boy. And it's so great to be free to express yourself in all the ways you feel like you want to, and not to feel like because something is attributed to a certain gender or a certain idea that you can't also do it." There are things that are for per gender. Women are the only ones having children. Men are the ones working. Women are also working, but at the same time, that's how it was back in the day. That was what the traditional family was. The men worked, the women stayed home, took care of the kids. It's way completely different now, obviously, but men cannot get pregnant. Men cannot bear children. That is one thing that is specific to women, biological women. I can't believe I have to explain that in 2023. That's, I think, what's really struck me about being in this movie, what's evolved in my understanding of Barbie and what it is, and what I hope that an audience will get from it when they watch the movie. He would later add, "Knowing that Greta is as just talented and intelligent of a storyteller as she is, you knew that she was going to create a story that was just really fresh and exciting and subversive and self-aware." And I think Margot, who also produced the movie, just championed that so perfectly. You have to really watch the movie to understand this, but it is a feat to have gotten Mattel on board with this movie. He elaborated, "Because this movie really goes there and attacks all the criticisms of Barbie in the past, it joins in on the conversation, and it's not just like a fluffy cash grab. You sort of look at us, we're fine, everything's perfect." There are some really scathing critiques of the idea of Barbie, what Barbie has been or is. And also some really scathing critiques on Mattel as well, which I love. But I think it really speaks to just how much everyone on board believed in the vision and the voice of this movie, that they were like, no, this conversation needs to happen, and Mattel needs to be in this conversation. No, they don't. And we need to be part of it because that's the only way that we can move forward. That's the only way we can get the audience on board with the story you want to tell. Looking at Blue Beetle actor Zolo Mariduena informed Empire, "The goal was to create a movie for a young me and young Angel that said, hey man, look, someone who looks like you or comes from a similar background can be a superhero." What? He added, the second thing was to open more doors for people like us. Pretty sure people like us in the Latino community have had movie roles before. Blue Beetle. As fun as it is to get into a superhero world where everything is dialed up to 110%, it's the characters that I'm most related to. As for Rachel Zegler promoting Snow White, the actress made abundantly clear what kind of messages moviegoers should take away from the film. At D23 Expo last September, Zegler told Extra TV that the live-action film would be skewing the romance angle of the first film because it's weird. No, you're weird. And you're not very pretty. I'm telling you that right now. She said the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on a love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Not true. Weird. So we didn't do that this time. Again, the queen was jealous of how fair and lovely Snow White looked. In this case, Gal Gadot blows you out of the water as far as looks. So how is that going to work? When asked if the prince would even be in the film, Zegler answered, we have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people would assume is a love story just because, we cast a guy in the movie. Andrew Burnham, great dude. She continued, it's one of those things that I think everyone's going to have their assumptions about what it's actually going to be, but it's really not about a love story at all because, again, modernization of old classic films never are the same. Which is really, really wonderful. No, it's not. And whether or not she finds love along the way, anybody's guess till 2024. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. Yeah. Just like your job could get cut because you're on strike and you think you deserve money. You think you deserve more money when you're a piece of garbage and you do not care about the source material or what role you're playing. This comes on the heels of Gandalf actor Ian Mckellen explaining that he read J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings every night to prepare for the role of Gandalf. So this can be comparable essentially to Henry Cavill reading the books and playing the games of The Witcher and prepared himself to be Geralt of Rivia. And this is how you take source material and you learn about a character you're playing and you do it right. You don't take the role of a character in a storyline you don't care about, talk about how you don't care about it, and then infect it with your garbage. Actor Ian Mckellen, who played Gandalf in Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy, explained how he prepared to take on the character every night before he filmed. In an interview conducted back in 2003 ahead of the release of Lord of the Rings Return of the King and recently uploaded to the One Ring channel, Mckellen is asked, because your character is the one that everyone turns to, you are the wise man, you are the sage. Was it like that on the set? Mckellen responded, quote, certainly not. No. I think that would be the answer to that. He then elaborated, quote, the wise man was Jackson. I mean, every morning you would arrive on set, no matter how early you got there, you got down in costume, and Peter would be sitting down in his chair. There's video monitor that he watched the proceedings on, reading a book. It was always the same book, Lord of the Rings. Mckellen then shared, but I could match him because I had a pocket in Gandalf the Grey's costume that I kept the Lord of the Rings in. So the night before, I looked up the scene where we were going to do and see if there was anything in the Tolkien that I thought had been missed or overlooked or could enhance what we got. He continued, quote, and if you could point to a particular line and say, could we not have this back in the script? And it was written by Tolkien. Peter almost always said, of course. Because these are people that actually care about source material and care about the lore of a world that someone else created, which is the exact opposite of a Rachel Zegler who doesn't care at all about the story that she's going to bastardize and not follow the lore of. Returning to address the question, Mckellen said, but he was the authority and it's his movie. It's his vision of Tolkien, which in interviews he has said he was stuck strictly to the lore and did not choose to insert his own personal politics into something that is not his. Every basic decision passed across his desk, but he ain't a tyrant, and like all good directors he casts well, I don't just mean the actors, but heads of departments, so people he could totally rely on. No one was sacked during this. He picked the right person right along the line, and you could not overestimate Peter. Total mastery. In a follow-up question, Mckellen discussed the main disagreement that he and Jackson had concerning Gandalf. The main argument that we would have discussion or disagreement, what's the word, different point of view, was that if the character was angry, let's say Peter wanted you to be angry, And I thought I'd say, well, Peter, sometimes when people are angry, they turn very charming and smile. They get very quiet. They're seething inside, he explained. That's a lifetime of looking for the subtext from this actor. What is really going on, Peter, in this story? Didn't want any doubts about what was going on. He wanted it up front. So despite all the beautiful pastel shades of the tinting and every single frame has been specially colored technology on this film, but he wanted the emotions to be primary colors, McKellen relayed. He didn't want any doubts what was going on. If you're angry, you're angry. If you're in love, you're in love. If you're worried, you're really worried. All that. The actor further elaborated, what would happen is we'd have this not argument, but discussion. And if he didn't persuade me or vice versa, then what would happen is that we'd do it both ways, and then he could pick which he wanted to use. When asked if he often picked McKellen, the actor responded, well, I would have to go back and have a look and try to assess that, but I do trust his taste so much and think he's got wonderful taste. I'm happy to say he made the right decisions, but I think sometimes there's subtlety in my performance, so maybe I did win out every so often. McKellen and Jackson's practice something that the creators of Rings of Power and the War of Rohirrim should have done. Unfortunately, he chose a different path. In the case of Rings of Power, decided to write the novel that Tolkien never wrote and ignore what he did about the Second Age. As for the War of the Rohirrim, it appears they completely ignored what Tolkien wrote in favor of inserting current-day feminism. So yes, this is a person who's similar to someone like Henry Cavill, who respects the source material and the lore he's working in. He respects it and does the research into the character that he's playing, into the role that he is playing, which is what I absolutely respect about people in Hollywood. I do not respect these modern day actors who want to sit up here and preach down to you and talk down to you and put all this bull crap in movies, especially movies that have established lore. They want to put all this extra nonsense that's not there and try to tell you you're terrible if you disagree in any way, shape, or form. This is the only way that actors should respond. And actors should act when they're taking on a role based on an established IP. Just act and shut up. Respect your fan base, respect your lore, respect the people who have been there forever in this fan base, and just do your job as an actor. Thank you all for checking out this video. I really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, and returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit the like button. Comment below what you feel about all this. Subscribe for more content. Hit the bell for notifications. Set the bell to all. That way you get notifications anytime I post a new video. And I'll see you all on the next one. Peace.